Hello and welcome back to Let's Code Physics. This is our last episode for Season 1, and it is our holiday special. So much like we had a Halloween special where I gave you the code to make a jack-o'-lantern, today I'll be giving you the code to create a Christmas tree in VPython. I've set it up very similar to the code for the jack-o'-lantern. So there's all these preliminary stuff that's set up. So the interesting stuff for you as the user starts at the line labeled instructions. But basically, we've got three things we can add to this Christmas tree. We can add ornaments. That's using the make orn command. We can create lights. That's using the make lights command. And we can create garland. That's using the make garland command. So the jack-o'-lantern, you'll recall, was written in spherical coordinates, so all the action took place on the surface of the orange sphere. This time, the Christmas tree is more of a cylinder. So, well, it's not quite a cylinder; it's a cone, but it's closer to being a cylinder than it is to being a sphere. So we're going to be using cylindrical coordinates. So instead of giving two angles, instead of giving a plane angle and an azimuthal angle, you're going to give the angle around which you want the thing to happen and the height at which you want it to happen, and then the radius, the distance out from the central axis, is just given by the height. So let's take a look at what happens with the code as it's currently set up. I've got a whole bunch of stuff commented out that we'll be adding back in just a second. This is just sort of the basic tree. You get this nice green cone, and then for every one of those make orn commands, you get an ornament. Currently, there's only a few ornaments, but basically, we can add more by, let me actually resize this guy. There we go, so we can see the window. There we go. So basically, for every ornament you want to add, you just add another make orn command, and basically you tell it where in terms of the angle you want it to go. So this is going around the tree in terms of radians. The next argument is where you want it to go in terms of height. That goes from 0 at the bottom to 1 at the top. And then this third argument gives you the radius of the ornament, so the size of the ornament. And then the last argument is the color that you want it to have. Now you can use some of the predefined colors like color.red, color.yellow, color.green, or you can specify an RGB code. And that's what I've done in these last few just to try out some of the different RGB codes. So let's see. So the top of our tree is looking a little bare up here. So let's maybe put this thing at about a 0.1 in terms of the rotation around the tree. And let's put it. Let's see. So the highest one is at 0.5, so this one's at 0.5, so let's maybe put it at 0.7. I'd like to keep them all the same radius. You can make them different radii if you want. And then for color, let's see, this is RGB. I don't have any blue up here yet, so let's make this thing no red and some blue, and let's maybe put in a little bit of greens. We'll get a little bit of a teal going on. Okay, cool. So we got oh, whoops. I got my RGB confused here. I want that to be 0.1 and this to be 1. There we go. The G in RGB stands for green. That's one thing I've learned today. There we go. There's a bluish ornament. That looks wonderful. So we can add another couple of ornaments, but you notice we had to guess there again, just like with the pumpkin, with the jack-o'-lantern. I've added this make grid command where it'll put onto the tree these grid lines that you can use to figure out where your positioning needs to be. So let's see. I want to put one, let's say down here in this corner. So I'm going to say make ornament. Let's see, right around here, that's a phi of about 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think there's reached 0.2, so that should be a 0.8. It's got a height of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so each of these heights is 0.1. So let's give it a height of 0.1. Again, the same radius, and then a color of, let's see, I've got red, orange. I don't have any yellow. So let's do color.yellow so that I don't have to embarrass myself by trying to create the RGB code for yellow. There we go. We got our yellow ornament over in that corner, just like we expected. That looks lovely, doesn't it? Okay. Now, of course, ornaments are not the only thing you place on a tree. We can also add garland. That's what this make garland command does. And it takes much of the same argument. So it starts out with, let me bring up the menu here. It starts out with what angle you want it to start at. So this is where the garland is going to start, along the bottom of the tree. D is the distance that you want between successive levels of the garland. So the garland's going around in a spiral. So each level of the spiral is going to be separated by this distance, D. Call is going to be the color. HEL is the helicity. That's the fancy word for whether something goes clockwise or counterclockwise. With -1 being counterclockwise, -1 being clockwise and +1 being counterclockwise. And then 0.01, this thick here, that's the thickness of the garland itself. So if I use this make garland command here, I get a garland of thickness 0.01, relatively thick. I might decrease that one, going around, and it's just one, continuous loop going around. So if I wanted to have a crisscrossing garland, I might, if I wanted it to go in the opposite direction, I would make this a +1. And let's say I change this to yellow. Here we go. And let's cut the thicknesses in half. That seems a little bit thick to me. I don't know. So we should get identical to the previous one. Yep, it's just going in the opposite direction. So that's cool. Let's see. Now, I am not as big a fan of garland as I am of lights. So let me show you what the make lights command does. Let's uncomment this one. So the garland makes a continuous string of these of color. The lights just adds a bunch. The make lights command just adds a bunch of spheres as the Christmas tree lights. So the difference between these two is that the make garland command takes a single sphere and moves it around so that it makes the trail going around, while the make lights command just creates a bunch of spheres. Hint, it's really just using the make ornament command. These are the same things as the ornaments, right? So personally, I'm a bigger fan of lights than garland, and you can really, you can add as many strings of lights as you want. I'm going to add in a bunch of lights here by uncommenting the stuff. I went ahead and figured out all the numbers ahead of time. So I'm just going to uncomment this region here, and let's also turn off the grid, and this will be the final Christmas tree that we have for this video. Oh yeah, that is just majestic, isn't it? The lights get a little bit crowded at the top, so I may have gone overboard a little bit with the lights. But oh yeah, that is gorgeous right there. That is a sight to behold. So I invite you to take this code. You just open it using VPython. I'll have the instructions for installing VPython as well as a link to the code in the description below. I would love to see you take this, share with us the Christmas tree you create using, you can share it in the comments below, or you can tweet at Let's Code Physics. You can also post it to our Facebook page. The Twitter account seems to be more popular than the Facebook page, so I tend to promote the Twitter more than the Facebook. So like I said earlier, this will be the last episode for Season 1. We got started in October, and this has been a really good experience. I want to thank all of you, our viewers and subscribers. If you are a viewer and not a subscriber, go ahead, click on the subscribe button below. If you're a subscriber but not a viewer, not entirely sure how you're viewing this, so I guess by definition you are a viewer. If you're a subscriber, not a regular viewer, click on the settings button next to the subscribe button, and you can make sure to get updates on every single video that comes out, and not just, the weekly digest that YouTube sends out. I learned a lot this season by setting up and starting this YouTube channel. It's definitely something I've enjoyed. One thing I've learned, and this probably goes without saying, but I've learned I really love programming. That might seem obvious since that's what I'm doing in front of you 3 times a week. But what I've learned in addition to that, because I already knew I liked programming, otherwise I wouldn't have made the channel. What I've learned is even if I'm creating a code or solving a problem that I've done 100 times before, like the Euler-Kromer method I have done in class over and over again, I've done for my own simulations and graphs over and over again. And now I've done it on this channel, over and over again. Even when I'm doing something repeatedly, I enjoy it. I like setting it up. I like seeing, is there a different way I could set this up? Is there a different way I could phrase what I'm doing? Is there a different order I could call things in? Is there a different way I could graph it? So I've learned that, I really enjoy just kind of toying around with all the different stuff in this physics programming. I also learned I hate syncing video and audio. So ever since I added this wonderful webcam window, I've had to synchronize my audio and my video because the recording lags just a little bit between the two, and I have to go in and I have to separate the audio and video and remix the audio. I mean, I would do that anyway, and then just ever so slightly lag the audio behind the video just a little bit in terms of the time, so that my mouth matches with the sounds that you hear. At least I hope it matches. But the recording software I'm using does allow me to put in a delay, and I think I've almost got the delay figured out to where I won't have to synchronize these things anymore. I'm really hoping for that. Be a wonderful Christmas present for me. I've also learned, the third thing that I've learned is that the line between education and entertainment is becoming increasingly blurred. So on channels like this, on a Let's Play channel, on CGP Grey, on Numberphile, Computer File, all these, sort of educational channels and all these, educational podcasts that are out there in the internet, they are educating people and they are entertaining people, and the line between those two is becoming increasingly blurred in this world of the internet that is increasingly audiovisual. Many of us have been around long enough to remember when the internet was mostly text, and if you wanted pictures, you had to wait for it to load on your screen and just hope that nobody picked up the phone while you were trying to get your pictures loaded. But I think it's a really good thing. I think that, students are going to come in to high school and into college, hopefully seeing education and learning as something that they can enjoy and as something that can interest them. And I think that, channels like this are a good example of that. So those are the things that I've learned from this season. Would love to hear what you've learned from watching this season. Maybe something physics related, something computer related, something just completely random. Let us know in the comments below or on Twitter at Let's Code Physics. Would love to hear what you've learned from this experience. So this video will wrap up Season 1. Season 2 will begin sometime late January, early February. I'm leaving that ambiguous because I want to make sure I get some good planning and upfront work done before launching Season 2. In Season 2, I'm going to be taking a slightly different scheduling approach. So for Season 1, I tried to do a complete series at a time. Sometimes, they wove between each other. Police Chase took, several weeks to complete with a video here and there. But what I'd like to do is set up a more weekly schedule where you can have a better idea of what to expect on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. What I'm thinking about doing now, and don't hold me to this because epiphanies have a way of happening over winter break, and so I might come up with a better idea. But what I'm thinking about doing is on Mondays, working my way through some in-depth, more advanced physics study. I'm thinking something quantum mechanical probably, so something that goes a little bit deeper into physics learning than churning through constant acceleration motion over and over again. So Mondays would be an in-depth physics study. Wednesdays would be trying to program something related to video game physics, something that comes up in video games a lot. The inspiration for this channel was my brother's Let's Play channel, Kyle Blaine Plays. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. You've heard me promote that or seen me promote that on Twitter, and probably heard me reference it a couple times. And a lot of the fan base for this channel comes from the Let's Play community, from me posting this on Reddit and a lot of people being interested in it. Thank you to our Redditors that bumped up my subscription numbers significantly within a week of the channel launching. Very glad to have all of you. And so I want to pay tribute to that. I want to make sure to honor that. I've gotten a lot of requests for how would you program this in a video game, or how do they do this in a video game? So I want to start, looking at some things that are of interest in the physics world that happens in video games. So Wednesdays would be video games. I don't really have a good alliteration for that except to mispronounce it and call it Video Game Wednesdays or Video Game Wednesdays, but a little bit afraid of being offensive with that, so I probably won't do that. And then Fridays I'll keep it to some fun projects. So there's your alliteration. There's fun Fridays. Fridays, I'd like to keep it to fun projects. Things like the red light, no win scenario. Is there more we can do with that? The police chase. Is there more we can do with that? The more, the sort of shorter term stuff, so that if somebody comes on new to the channel, they don't have to dive into the middle of something. They can, catch on and enjoy something that lasts, just a couple of episodes, rather than getting involved in something that'll last several episodes. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. Do let me know your thoughts. If there's a problem you'd like to see us work out or discuss, do leave a comment below, or again, tweet at Let's Code Physics. Would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a really pleasurable experience for me, and I know for many of the viewers, and I am really looking forward to seeing what Season 2 brings. So have a wonderful holiday. Enjoy your virtual Christmas tree, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.